Well, what I'd like to do is do a small demonstration over here. What we've done here is we've got an ordinary bathroom fan that's sitting on the table, and it's ducting through some duct that's straight, because ideally you want that fan air to go 2.5 diameters of straight air. What we've got here is we have one gauge that's measuring the static pressure of the air in this duct, which the fan is developing in order to push air outside. This gauge here is measuring the volume of air that that fan is sucking in through this grill and moving down this duct. This is a one-zone fan, and you can hear now that it's really not disrupting our conversation here because one zone is pretty good. Now, common sense would tell you, if I put my hand on this fan, that the volume would go to nothing. So you can see on this gauge, which is meeting volume, that is just about gone to zero. Over here, what happens, as I block that fan is trying harder to move the air, so its static pressure is building up and up and up. But what I'd like to show you, though, is that every last thing you do on this fan is degrading its performance. And that's why in BC today, we buy fans according to a rating of a static pressure. And there's a table I'll get into later that shows how big that duct has to be for that fan. The first thing you could do is you could put an elbow on your duct. We're well away from the fan, so it's not going to have any direct effect on the fan, but it becomes a little bit of additional resistance. And right now, we've gone from roughly 17 on this gauge to 13 on this gauge. Because even this fan, as free as everything is, can feel the effect of that elbow. This is not an uncommon hood. It's certainly not one of the best. But we're sitting now at 15 or so. We're down at 13. So that hood has a negative effect on that fan's performance. And this isn't one of the worst. This is one of the better ones, but even it will show up with the result is that our volume has gone down a little wee bit. Not only are these good for the building enclosure and rain screen, these are definitely freer with the screen across the bigger opening area than this with a screen is right across that 4-inch diameter. It starts to get really bad though when you start doing this, because flex is actually equivalent to only 3-inch diameter, this 4-inch flex, and that's why this is no longer allowed by the building code for any application. And this is only 3 feet of it, but now down around 11. So we took a horrendous beating, and this isn't with this put right on the discharge of the fan. If you put this on the discharge of the fan, we can't measure it because it's complicated to measure, but it's a heck of a lot more detrimental. Now, of course, you could be an absolute idiot, and you could do this. Remember, the fan doesn't care. In fact, you're saving electricity. And, of course, saving heat loss because you're not doing any ventilation. But it gets better. How many people have used these in soffits? They look really good at the right angle and when they're clean. That's 6. But these are my favorite. You can kind of imagine where this is going to go. Basically, you can't see that, but basically 0. These will only move as much air, just like a furnace will only move as much air, or a heat pump will only move as much air as the duct that you put in to make it work.